fortunate in that sense. I forgot to invite our favorite part. Please welcome our partners. And I would like to request Shobhan to receive our favorite partner. Hold properly. Give a pose. Now, may I request Dr. Oil Mundal sir and also Sri Shobhan Bandyopadhyay and Sri Subir Mundal to receive our former students and also the resource persons today with some mementos. Just some tokens of appreciation. We could not really arrange for something better than this because of the paucity of time. Shobhan, please. For me, slaves to receive. Our principal will very shortly join, but since he has not yet come, let's start the proceedings. You know, we had such a plan for long, but we could not really arrange this program. Yes. We could not really arrange this program earlier because of so many reasons, I said. And one of them, the main reason being the non-availability of our vice chancellor. Anyways, ultimately, we are here for such a session where I hope that all the students will be benefited. The students present over here. Now, I would like to request our head of the department, Sri Subir Mundal sir, to deliver the welcome address on behalf of the department.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Today's workshop is on orientation. That is orientation on NET or SET. This national eligibility test and state level eligibility test determine the eligibility of the students for the post of assistant professor and JRF award in Indian universities and colleges. From our department, each and every year, a lot of students qualify in NET or SET and also in JRF. But it is not at all an easy work to qualify it. You need a pre-planned program and a lot of practice. I think that this orientation by the resource person who have successfully qualified in NET, SET or JRF, they will actually help you a lot by providing knowledge about NET and SET, and in this way you will get a clear conception of NET and SET, and it will definitely facilitate you and motivate you to appear for this examination. I, on behalf of the department, welcome all the resource persons who are the students of our department, and we are proud for that. I hope that you will be highly benefited with this, and this will help you immensely to appear in the examination of NET and SET confidently. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for introduction. Now look, our plan is our resource persons will address you one by one, and thereafter you may have your questions, you may interact with them. So be prepared with your questions, whatever questions you have regarding NET, how to qualify NET or SAVE, and what kind of study you should make, or what kind of preparation you should make. I would like to request Subhashi's part. So Subhashi's, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Very good afternoon to all of you, respected teachers, and my fellow scholars also are here, among whom three of are my dear students. And overview of need and say. I think I should share my experience first regarding the Department of English, Dr. Christian College. Yes, as you have known that I have taught here as a guest lecturer for 3.5 years. But before that, I was a student of this department, and yes, so you can easily feel that how these teachers have made me, for which I am standing before you here today. And yes, while I didn't have that privilege to get Oyonda and Sibojolida as my teachers, but while I taught here as guest lecturer, now these two apostles were here, and yes, and yes, I'm not exaggerating the way Oyonda and Sibojolida helped me to read, to study, and we have that kind of lack of resources. And yes, whatever I needed at that time, these two have provided me at that time. Now I'm ever grateful to these two. And I think I should talk less about engines because Sam is my kind of second father. And yes, academically Sam has made me yes, to achieve whatever I desire, to provide whatever I wanted at any moment of time. So yes, I'm ever indebted to Indian sir. Now, what I'm trying to give you here is that I think I will have from 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, fine. Yes, I think you have also your opinion paper, right? So yes, this will help you to just to formulate that what you should or how you should approach. Now, first of all, I will come to the first paper of NEET or SAGE. Now, I think it is clear to all of you, right, that you have to adhere for two papers. One of paper 1, general paper, and the other for the subject, right? Now, for the first paper, what you have to do, that I am coming later. First, let us talk about the subject. Now, while we were listening to the speech of our honorable professor, now principal sir told us one important line, right? That we are in the sea of knowledge, right? And in this sea of knowledge, we have to extract whatever we can, and yes, that we have to apply it in some practical fields, as well as in some with some plans, so that we can achieve whatever we plan. NET is not a very hard nut to crack. First of all, believe that. Now, if you can believe that you can clear NET, you can do it. That is the first thing. Now, you must not have to be a very bright student, first of all. And yes, you must not have to be that kind of excellence in your yes, academics. Obviously, you must be serious in that. But that doesn't mean that it should reflect in your academic marks or whatever else that you have done earlier. Don't think over it. Just you have your future, you plan to crack NEET, just prepare for it, go for it and crack it. That's the simple thing. Now you should have those kinds of 3 mantras to clear NEET. What are those 3 mantras? That first one, read. Second one, read. Third one, read again. Now, we don't have, at least I don't have any shortcut. I don't know. My later speakers will have some kind of shortcuts for you or not. But you don't have any shortcuts. Now, if you want to find some shortcuts, now definitely you will lack some knowledge, and that lack of knowledge actually will be a great suffering for you in future. So, at the very beginning, right? You must plan accordingly that what you are trying to do. I was just discussing with Elisa and on the very poor condition of UT students, right? About the history of English literature. Yes, which is the very backbone of any kind of NEET or SET examinations. That is the very backbone. If you don't have depth in it, suddenly it is very hard for you. So how you should approach that history of English literature? First, what to read? That is very much clear to us that we have to read history of English literature. My question is how to read it, right? So we have various books which will help you in understanding history of literature. Now, if you just want to mug up all those information, just you will read today and you will forget tomorrow. So how you will read it? You just prepare the very plan that you are creating a story of the history of English literature. Now, while you will actually delve into the history of literature, you will find that it is very interesting. That I think that you haven't failed yet. As for history of English literature, what is important for us, we all are acquainted with the book of Albert, right? Edward Albert. You have it, I think. Another thing that is very important for us, for you as well, that no one single book is sufficient for your need, right? Even after if you read some 5 or 6 books in your examination, you will find that the questions are not coming directly. The questions are gradually coming conceptual. Questions are conceptual. So if you do not have the concept, if your concept is not clear, then it is very hard for you to answer. Now, the first book that I want to share with you is the book of Carter. You have heard that name, right? History of English Literature. I think the title of the book is History of Literature of England, Ireland, and something like that by Carter. So the book by Carter is very important. Why it is important? Because the book of Carter has emphasized on those social contexts of all those periods, of all those writers, right? That we actually know as canonical writers of English literature. So that is why that book by Carter is very important. You have your Albert. Next 2 books about history of literature that I would like to suggest. One is by Sanders and the other one is by David Beatty. One is by Sanders, the other one is by David Beatty. Now, all these books are available nowadays, even in soft copies also. So, what you have to do, you have 4 or 5 history of literature books. So, when you read it, that first you will read Albert, then Carter, then Sanders, then this and that. Okay, so, yes, not like that. You just prepare exercise book of your own, a notebook, and you spread all these 5 books before you. right? Read just for 1.5 hours or 1 hour, whatever. Read from all those four books, whatever you are reading, whatever age you are reading, read from these all four books, highlight and mark those important parts, highlight all those important parts, and then you just write it down in your copy. Okay? So that is the very first thing. If you understand or if you think that merely marking on the very page will help you, I say no, it will not help you. You just accumulate all those ideas in your copy, right? And then you just, while you will read your copy of that particular age or of that particular writer, then you will find that what you have read, right? So that is the very first thing that you must remember while preparing for your NEET and GRE. That is number 1 point of history of English literature. I will come later about the history of English literature. Let us summarize that what we have to cover for appearing for that text. Number 2, history of American literature. Now, comparatively, right? Once again, I say comparatively. From American literature or history of American literature, questions are asked less, but that is also important for you. Why important? Because you know there are certain 10 or 12 fields, and from these 10 or 12 fields, all these 100 questions are asked, right? So you have to score well in your examination, and that is why you have to prepare well for your American literature, history of American literature also. Because history of American literature, if you start to read, I think very quickly you can cover it up. And the books that I want to suggest for history of American literature, 2 books. One is by Richard Gray, and the other one is by Van Stansgard.
So what is could you write the names?
Yes.
But will that pen work?
I think it will work. Yes. Worship, are you having soft copies of these books?
Yes, I have.
So please share it with me so that I can share it with the students. Share them with me.
Okay, I will send you. You just fine. Now these 2 books of American literature, I think they will help you for understanding that the very history of American literature, the way you approach history of English literature, same the way you will approach history of American literature. Number 3 that I would come is the very part that we call today new literature. Now, what is new literature? This is kind of a vague, term or vague idea that what is new literature. Now, for this new literature that you must keep in your mind, that apart from the very Britain, right? Britain, that means by Britain I mean England, Scotland, Ireland. Apart from Britain, all the other countries like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, whatever, right? Now all these form the very new literature, or in some context you may also say it is a kind of world literature. So for world literature, I think this is number 3 that field I am talking about for this world literature or new literature. Now here we don't have that kind of guidebook or something like that. I just want to share with you that how you should prepare for this world literature part or new literature part. There are the very countries like Australia, Canada, Africa, and obviously there are some other canonical writings from other canonical writers of other countries, right? Now, how you will find it? It is not very easy for you to find who is the very prominent writer of Ukraine. I think that is very difficult for you. That is why what you must do is that you just gather the university syllabus of reputed universities of India. Now all these are available online today, right? Because if you Google it, I think you will find it. If you want to know what currently is the very syllabus of JNU, I think it is very much accessible for you because yes, their website it is easily available on their website. That is number one. So how you will find all the canonical writers of the world literature? The first thing that you must do is just accumulate all those canonical writers of those countries in one place. Suppose we have a text of Australian writer in JNU, right? That text is available in Maulana Azad University. That text is also available in Viswabharati University, right? So, the moment you have to understand that this text is very important for us because it is included in several of the universities, right? So, the reputed universities and the central universities, yes, because they follow their own autonomous syllabus. So this is important for you. That is how you can accumulate all those canonical writers of the world literature. Next, I come to Indian literature. That is very accessible and it is comparatively easy for you to access Indian literature. History of Indian literature, the very prominent book we all know, MK9. And yes, in two parts, right? Don't ignore the second part because I just yes came to know some of my students that sir, it is available for only one volume. Yes, the booksellers also sell only first volume because they are less interested in the post-independence volume of MK9. And yes, in two volumes, or you can also go for Iyengar. Iyengar, yes, Iyengar means Srinivasa Iyengar. That is the name of History of English Literature by Srinivasa Iyengar. Soft copy of this is also available. Next, that is number 4, right? Number 5th field that we must, yes, we must develop our expertise is our concepts and the writings by those Nobel laureates. Okay? Nobel laureates. So, pick up those Nobel laureates. Some of those Nobel laureates you will find it regarding while you will, while you will read world literature or British literature, whatever. But those who are left out, you just pick up them at one point. You read their canonical writings. You extract the summaries, you remember the characters, the plot, that will be sufficient for you to approach those Nobel laureates. And same goes for the next field, that means those who win the Booker Prize, that is Man Booker today. Man Booker and Pulitzer winning, those Pulitzer winners and Man Booker winners, right? So this is how you have to collect their canonical writings at one place and then you approach their text. Okay? Next, important part that yes, those who are in PG semester 4, you are, I think you are reading theory and criticism, right? That part is also very important. And what is important? What theory? Yes, all of you are reading theories, right? Because, yes, you have feminism, Marxism, structuralism, post-structuralism, whatever. You are reading all these. But, NET or SAFE question papers are not asking you that name to structuralist theorists, right? What they will ask you is the seminal writings of those theorists, the canonical writings of those theories. So what you have to do is that you just have the text of the theories. Remember the phrase, the text of the theories. So if you approach those texts of the theories, now in your while you will appear in the examination, then you will find that these are a bit easy for you to pick up all those lines from those theories. And yes, it goes for the criticism as well. You must approach all those texts of the criticisms. Lesser known parts are rhetoric and prosody that all of you have learned in your PUGs. You just have to revise them because some 2 or 3 questions asked from rhetoric and prosody, right? And next one is English language teaching, ELT. Now that has become a recent trend in both SAT and NET, that I was looking all those question papers and I found that there are some 4 or 5 questions which are asked from English language teaching that we call ELT. I think Indian sir is there for you to provide whatever you need regarding English language teaching, the materials, right? And yes, the last part that I must talk about is the cultural studies part. The part which is recently included in the syllabi of UGC, of NET set, but that cultural studies part was already there. While we also did not incorporate it in the very syllabi, the official syllabi of the site of UGC. Now, these cultural studies, the very part of cultural studies, you just approach it by the books or by the text of I think you have a text of cultural studies in Cambridge University also by Stuart Hall, right? That text is here, and along with Stuart Hall, what you need is to you have to read Raymond Williams, that famous Marxist critic, and yes, his book on cultural studies is very important, and you will have to read these 2 books at least for the cultural studies part. So whatever the fields that I have discussed here, this is just the skeleton picture of what you have to approach. These are mere umbrella terms, right? Because when you will enter in one field, then you will find that how much you have to read. But yes, I think that the way that the way I shared with you, that this should be the approach. And if you approach it, I think it will be very easy for you. And that won't be, yes, it won't take much time as well. Because if you start today, after 6 months, you will revise your copy, and then you stand in front of mirror, and then you say that how much you have progressed by 6 months. And if you spend nearly 1.5 to 2 hours per day, right? So this is the part that regarding the subject paper, that is paper 2, that I wanted to share. Yes, I think I must pass the mic to others. And later on, I will, if time permits, I will speak about the paper 1. Okay, thank you.
Your responsibility is not yet over. You have to help them later also.
Always.
Collect from him his phone number. Keep in touch with him. Whatever you want, you know, he was a very bright student. He stood, I told you some of you, that he stood first in school service examination, SSC, in West Bengal, first in West Bengal, in the whole state. Yeah. And I know how he struggled in his early life, in his student life. As he was very close to me particularly, I know how much he struggled. But right now he's quite happy. He has a very good family also. So, but it's not really the whole picture about Subhas's past. So a lot of struggle he had to go through. Some of you sometimes speak of this problem and that problem. But the kind of problems that he faced in his life, I know them. So don't worry about your problems. Some of you were saying, sir, I have this problem, that problem, I have to go home. Then just forget all about your next set preparation. If you are very serious about it, learn from him how to prepare. Learn from him only. Okay, so take his phone number, keep in touch with him. Whenever you need any kind of help, ask him directly, not really through us. Because he is always there to help you. And I know he is very helpful. He stays here at Jogesbolli. He has still rented house there, although he basically stays now at Purulia. But he sometimes comes to almost once a month at least he comes to Bankura. And you can definitely, if you want any material from him, hard copy, you can also have paid from him. If you want hard copies of certain books. E-copies, he, as I said, he will share with AYN sir, and from AYN sir you will have those things. But if you want them to receive directly, you can definitely approach him. So thank you, Subhasis. Now, not really the second senior, because when I am coming back to you a bit later. Okay, so rather I will skip to sales business. Then I will come back to the department. So now sales ministers, as I said, a very bright student. Actually, all of them are quite bright. Exceptionally bright, all of them. That's why they are the resource persons here. And in a few years' time, maybe some of you will also be there. Please, sales minister.
Would you like to have a PPT?
Good afternoon to all and everyone present here, my respected teachers and fellow students, and of course the other resource persons. Thank you for inviting me here today in this beneficial workshop conducted by English Department DCC. I qualified SET in 2018 and NET JRF in 2019, so that has been already 3 to 4 years, so I am not sure how I can help with the latest updates, if any. Matralina will be able to, as she has qualified recently, but I will try my best. So, to start with, coming to the very basic question, which I think you all know, what is NET? NET, National Eligibility Test, is conducted by NTA on behalf of UGC for the post of LS and JRF for taking admissions in MPhil or PhD courses. So many institutions admit students even without NET JRF, but with a given tough competition, a student with NET JRF is very likely to be selected over a student who does not have NET JRF. And you can get selected even without NET JRF, provided your research proposal is too good and provided that your choice of your chosen topic matches with the area of specialization with any faculty in the same institution. Otherwise, you will need NET JRF for getting admission into MPhil or PhD courses. And while NET determines eligibility in institutes all over India, SET, State Eligibility Test, determines eligibility in individual states. Most states conduct their own SET at different times of the year, for which you will have to keep checking the website. But getting selected or even applying for set outside West Bengal is a bit tough because many states have this rule that you have to know their local language. For example, Odisha, Karnataka, you will need to know their local language to apply for set. And also other states have state quotas for people belonging to their states. So it is a bit tough to get selected outside West Bengal, but West Bengal set is of the same pattern as UGC NET, and it is far easier than NET. Okay, so also another entrance test falling in the same category is GATE. Although GATE stands for Graduate Aptitude Test in Engineering, but it has included Humanities and Social Science from I think 2020. So you can also apply there. Now, SP sir has already elaborated paper 2. So I will like to elaborate paper 1 because paper 2 is so vast. My own strategy was also to score as much as I can in paper 1. Paper 1 comprises of a number of categories such as teaching aptitude, research aptitude, reading comprehension, mathematical reasoning, logical reasoning, data interpretation, ICT, information and communication technology, people and environment, and higher education system. I will go one by one. Teaching aptitude includes questions on learners' characteristics, factors affecting teaching, teaching aids, and evaluation systems. Research aptitude asks questions on research ethics, the process of research, etc. These two, teaching aptitude and research aptitude, can be tricky, not because the questions are tough, but because the answers to these questions are not definite. Okay, I myself have experienced that the given answer key to the same question varies in different years. But these are only for few questions, so no need to worry much. You can get questions in teaching aptitude such as what is the main objective of teaching? A. To develop thinking power of students. B. To help get maximum marks in the exam. C. To dictate notes to the students. And D. To prepare students to pass the examination. Now, because of the unfortunate way in which Indian education system works, with competition in getting more and more marks and mugging up notes and vomiting in the answer sheets, you may get tempted to think all the options are correct. But if you think clearly, you will know that the correct answer will be A, to develop thinking power of the students. So you will have to think clearly, think a bit, but you don't have time to think in the examination hall because you won't get enough time for paper 1 because you have other calculations, mathematical calculations, data interpretations, etc. So you will have to think while you are preparing beforehand. Going through last 10 years question papers is very important. After teaching and research aptitude comes comprehensions. Comprehensions are really easy and I think you don't need to practice them beforehand. For mathematical reasoning, you simply need to practice. The more you practice the numerical and alphabetical sets, the more your mind will click upon immediately looking at the question. And there are a few rules of arithmetic progression, geometric progressions, which you will need to keep the formula in mind, and the rest you have to practice. Clock and calendar tests, time distance, ratio proportion, profit loss, etc. All this require knowledge of the mathematical formula and again practice. The more you practice, the more you will get to acquire the shortcuts of doing this mathematical problems, and it will consume less time in the examination hall. And among logical reasoning, the trickiest one is syllogism. At least for me, I felt it tough. For syllogism, YouTube videos of Dinesh Miglani in clearing the concepts.
Please write the names.
Yes, Dinesh Guplan. And the rest which comes under logical reasoning are jumbled letters, set theory, etc. They are easy. Data interpretation requires basic knowledge of maths, that is calculation of percentage, and a keen eye for noticing the various types of data given in the bar graphs, set and pie charts, these Venn diagrams, etc. For ICT, Information and Communication Technology, the most important work is to clearly understand the decimal and binary number system and the conversion of one into another, from decimal to binary and from binary to decimal. The rest of the computer related questions you either already know from school if you have computer, or the rest of the questions you have to memorize. For the last two components, people, environment and higher education system, you simply have to memorize the last 10 years question answer, you will get common from them. For paper 1, books such as Truman and Bookcards are reliable. These books will first clear your concepts on every topic, and they also have a number of mock questions, sample questions, practicing which will help you a lot. But of course, as SP sir already told, there is no shortcut. So just practicing these books are not enough. You will also need to, specifically for paper 2, you also need to read the syllabus one by one. So, in short, for paper 2, you need to thoroughly go through the history of world literature. I have some books to refer, which I will write. Next set exam follow a particular strategy, a strategical pattern while setting up the questions. And if you understand the pattern, you can make your own suggestion. For example, if you see last 10 years questions, you will see that every year they have questions from Charles Dickens, Jane Austen, Thomas Hardy. Either they will ask you to arrange their novels according to their year of publication, or they will ask particularities from within the novel. In a nutshell, for paper 2, from 14th century to 21st century, you will have to keep in mind as much as possible the major fictions and non-fictions along with their year of publication, author, major storyline and the name of the protagonist. Literary movements occurring age-wise and their proponents. Literary terms, their coinage and their basic short definition. Nobel Prize winners in literature and their works. And SP sir has told this. Works originating in India, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Africa and the Caribbean region. So this is basically what I have to say. Those of you who are doing masters and planning to do higher studies, you still have a long way to go. So my request or advice to you is just be patient, don't lose focus and don't lose dedication. There will be weeks of unproductivity followed by weeks of extreme productivity, but you will have to be there, hanging on. Okay? So, thank you. That's all. I have some books to refer, which I will write. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Revati. As you have understood, to qualify in NET or SET, you have to be strong in mathematics also. So go back to class in mathematics. Profit and loss, ratio and proportion, decimal factors, decimals, all these are there in class 8 syllabus. So go back to the class 8 syllabus. If you don't have those books, purchase them immediately and know the formula. And thereafter, of course, the books as they have prescribed for paper 1 also. So purchase them and practice as much as possible. Means almost every day you must spend 5 to 6 hours for your preparation for paper set, other than what you do for your MA. For your MA, I would say 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours is enough. But for your NET set, you must spend at least 5 or 6 hours a day. Now decide how you will do that, keeping aside your mobile phone, not looking into any social networking site, rather concentrating on different websites that will help you in answering all these questions or in finding out PDFs, e-books, all these. Okay. Now still, we have some other resource persons, of course. And as you know, she will also share with you her phone number if you want. And you can keep in contact with her also. Okay. So absolutely no problem. If you approach them, any one of them, they will definitely help you. Okay. Next speaker, Dipanjan, you have your PowerPoint presentation? Okay. So, is it ready? Ready? Okay. So, Dipanjan Kundu, the next speaker, now he will be addressing you, but let her complete the list. Okay. So, Dipanjan Kundu, please come. Yeah, start. Yeah, of course.
You start with the practice later.
Yeah, okay. No problem. But be careful. There's electric line here.
My heart always beats fast whenever I try to talk about English literature in front of Anand sir and NGM sir. However, the largest chunk of resources has been already shared with you by two previous resource persons. Still, I will categorically talk about the materials which you have to gather by yourselves and study on them, read them. Now, you have to prepare on 6 topics. Broadly, they can be categorized into 6 categories. You have to write a lot when I've been talking because a lot of information is rushing at you right now. History of English literature, first. Second, world literature. Third, European criticism. Fourth, literary terms. Fifth, rhetorical figures. And sixth, miscellaneous. Now, whenever this term miscellaneous comes, that means everything. Actually, miscellaneous means
What close view? Once more the 6 topics. So that
Okay, I'm repeating the 6 topics. First, history of English literature. Second, world literature. Third, theory and criticism. Fourth, literary terms. Fifth, rhetorical figures. And sixth, miscellaneous. Okay. Now for history of English literature, there are two types of books: single volume books and two volume or double volume books. Okay.
Could you please wait for a while? Is the photograph taken? Taken. Would you like to have that, please? Take the photograph. Now.
Okay, as you can see on the screen, there are two types of books for history of English literature only. Single volume. Now within the single volume category, there is first and foremost Edward Albert, as one sir first said on our, in the first year. One sir said that Edward Albert is going to be the Bible of your program, honors program. So Edward Albert is must. But let me say you honestly that Edward Albert is not going to connection amongst all the ages that is lacking in Albert's book. So if you want to get a comprehensive knowledge of all the history of literature, periods, the whole history, then you must read Edward Albert. Then
सभी लोग हेल्प करो सर के আড়াল হয়ে গেছে এটা শরীরে
শরীর হ্যাঁ শরীর দিয়ে
দেখা যাচ্ছে দেখতে পাচ্ছিস সবাই বোর্ডটা দেখতে পাচ্ছিস আর একটু সরাবো তো আগে বলবি তো তোরা এতক্ষণ হয়ে গেল
এটা একটু ইয়ে কর নিচে দিয়ে
whatever you have prepared, that is our property now. Means their property now.
okay, so single volume and double volume books, as you can see on the screen. First, Edward Albert, to get a comprehensive knowledge of the whole history of the entire periodic structure and the authors. Edward Albert is a must. After that, read the Radcliffe publication, Carter and McRae, and there you will get the sense of connectivity amongst all the pages. After that, Andrew Sanders, read Andrew Sanders. These are all single volume texts, so you can read and finish them all over. So Andrew Sanders is also a very important book in respect of next set. William J. Long, very easy book. William J. Long, actually I have personally read all of them, so I know personally what are the contents in these books. And William J. Long is a very easy book. Then Bivas Chaudhary is for the social history of literature. Besides these 5 books, there is another book by Michael Alexander. You can write it down and you will search it there. Double volume books, you will read David Dages and W.R. Goodman. David Dages, I have personally read David Dages, both the volumes I have read, but I'm being honest with you, I have purchased W.R. Goodman but have not read entirely. I have read certain chapters that I think important. For example, as Sheoshi also
Watching for W.R. Goodman.
yes. Yeah, W.R. Goodman. As Sheoshi has already told you that certain chapters are very important. The Restoration period, the Romantic age, Neoclassical period, all these things. Especially postmodern and modern, these two are very important. Especially. maximum questions come from these two ages. So we will try to read these certain ages, be selective these certain ages from these books, W.R. Goodman and David Ages. But I will suggest you try to read entirely all these books. Try to read entirely. Now, after these books, history of literature, English literature, coming to world literature. World literature, there are 8 parts of world literature. 8 parts. Indian English literature, American literature, African literature. Write them down actually, I'm telling you. Indian English, American, African, Indian, American, African, French, German, Canadian, Australian, and Russian. So these are the 8 parts of world literature that you have to cover. For Indian English literature, M.K. Nair's book is good. You can also try for another book. W.R. Goodman has also has another book on Indian English literature, so you will search it. Okay. Now for world literature, go through Wikipedia and Britannica. The most authentic is Britannica more than Wikipedia. For theory, start with Louis Tyson. Louis Tyson is the easiest book on theory. Loistuison, Louis Tyson. Then read Peter Berry, second. Third is Patricia Wall. Patricia Wall is for the standard. So you have to build that standard for yourself. Louis Tyson for a comprehensive knowledge, then Peter Berry, and then Patricia Wall. But there is another way to grasp the theoretical understanding. You will search on YouTube Professor Sayan Chattopadhyay, literary theory. He is a professor of IIT Kanpur. There are 35 special video lectures by Sayan Chattopadhyay, and 10 other videos on post-colonialism only. Now, listen to these videos. After watching his video lectures, you will get the transcripts. That's the best part of this thing, that you don't have to write anything down. You will only watch them as it is you are sitting on the classroom. It's a virtual classroom. So you will only watch the videos, watch the lectures, listen to the lectures very minutely, and then go to a website I'm telling you. Go there and you will get all the 35 PDFs of these lectures. Write down the name of the website: nptel.ac.in. nptel.ac.in /courses /109 104 135. nptel.ac.in /courses /109 104 135. So you will get there and you will get all the transcripts, all the PDFs. Along with this, along with Sayan Chattopadhyay's lectures, Sayan Chattopadhyay's PDFs, it is for literary theory and criticism also. You will search on YouTube English Literature Vidya Mitro. You will go on YouTube and search English Literature Vidya Mitro. If you search it, immediately a folder will pop up. There, the folder is named as English for Net. There you will get 486 videos. And these video lectures are delivered by the eminent teachers of various colleges and universities all across the country. And these video lectures are sponsored by MHRD, which is now known as Ministry of Education. These have been uploaded, I think, since 2017. So These are the most authentic contents that you will get on YouTube. And the lectures are transcribed in PDF forms. On Wikipedia, on Google, you will go on Google and search EPG Pathshala. E-PG Pathshala. If you search EPG Pathshala, you will get the first link, that is the website, their website. You will go there. If you try to do it now, you can also. You can go to EPG Pathshala, write down, and there you will see that paper and module. And those paper and module you will get under the YouTube videos. Because if you go on the YouTube video, there will be in the description box. You will get paper title and module number. Put those paper title and module number in that website page, EPG Pathshala website. You will get all the PDFs of the lectures, so that you don't have to write them down while you are watching the videos. Watch the videos, then read the PDF, then write down whatever is needed, necessary from the PDF. Okay? These are about literary theories and criticism. In this way, I actually covered them. Now, literary terms. For literary terms, follow two books: A Glossary of Literary Terms by M.H. Abrams and Harpham, Geoffrey Gold Harpham, and Penguin Dictionary of Literary Terms and Literary Theory by J.A. Carden and M.A.R. Habib. Penguin Dictionary of Literary Terms and Literary Theory and Glossary of Literary Terms. These are the two books, M.H. Abrams and M.A.R. Habib, for literary terms, best books for literary terms. Okay? Try to read Glossary of Literary Terms. Glossary of Literary Terms is not big, it is not voluminous, very short and single copy book. You can read that. But this book, Penguin Dictionary of Literary Terms, it is a bit larger in volume. So you might be attracted to finish Glossary of Literary Terms more quickly than Penguin Dictionary. Literary terms, and moreover, the Glossary of Literary Terms, that means M.H. Abrams, in this book there are descriptions of literary theories also. So you can get a bit knowledge of literary theories also from this book. Okay, for rhetoric and prosody, Purnamnath Dotto is very good. Now miscellaneous. Under miscellaneous there are 5 topics. What are the things that you have to do besides reading history of English literature and theories and terms? Is that search on Google first, last and best lines of novels, short stories, poems and plays. You will search first lines of novels. You will get some material. Maybe prepared PDF materials are there, uploaded. You will just download, print it out and read. Revise them every day. Last lines of novels, last lines of plays, last lines of poems. Similarly, best lines of novels, best lines of short stories. This story is unfolding and in which background, that means in which place this story is taking place. So it is a summary of a street cut named Desire. Okay? And here you can see New Orleans, River plus Train, Belle Reve, and small town of Laurel, Mississippi. Now these are the names of the places and the background, that means river, train, these are the backgrounds against which this story is taking place. So you have to write them down in one shape, in rectangular, and name the characters within circles. After writing the characters, you will indicate their relationships. For example, you can see Stanley and Stella, they are husband and wife. So Stanley, from Stanley to Stella, you will draw an arrow and you will write down is husband of or just husband of. So you will, at a first glance, at a very quick glance, you can understand who is who is to whom. For example, Stanley and Mitch, they are friends. So I have just drawn that. Now when certain occurrences are happening, for example, Mitch getting attracted to blondes. So I have written in the shortest way possible. meet, then glance, an arrow got attracted to. That's all. So the whole plot will be etched in your brain. Besides that, for keeping in mind the summaries, the best way is watching adaptations. Watch as many literary adaptations as possible. In English literature, many authors, many works of the authors have been adapted into films. So try to watch films. For example, most of the novels by Charles Dickens have been adapted into films. Starting from Nicholas Nickleby to Hard Times to David Copperfield. David Copperfield has been adapted and readapted so many times. Even in 2020, there has been an adaptation of David Copperfield. Okay, so you will see all the spoofs, adaptations, mockings, everything on these things. For example, Troy. If you watch the film Troy, you will understand the plot of Iliad, right? So this is the best ways to keep in mind summaries. You don't. If you read once or twice or thrice, you can't remember. You cannot guarantee that you can remember everything. But if you just once watch the film, it will be in your mind for many years, and you can connect it when you are appearing for the exam. So you have to watch the adaptations for remembering the summaries. Another thing which I have to share with you, at that time when I was preparing for NET, I didn't know about these things, but now very recently I have come to know about this thing. Macat Library, MACAT Macat Library. Macat Library. Go on Google and search Macat Library. You will get a list of 14 subjects from social sciences and humanities. Under 14 subjects, multiple books are there. And these books, what is the best thing about this library is that, for example, Location of Culture by Bhumi Bhabha. If you go and read this text, it is very esoteric. Now, it is a kind of complaint for, charged against the theorists and critics, literary theorists especially, that they write in certain language that is very difficult to understand. It is very difficult, very esoteric kind of language that they use. If you once try to read Gayatri Spivak, it's a reality. If you try to read the original texts or the translations of the French theorists, then these are very difficult to understand. So the easier way to approach the theorists is that try to read some understandings on their books. Macat Library provides you those understandings. For example, Macat Library, if you search Location of Culture by Bhumi Bhabha in Macat Library, you will get the book. And where from you will download the book? Libgen.is. Libgen.is. Go there, search the Location of Culture by Bhumi Bhabha. You will get one, some 400 KB or something like that. These are the technical knowledge I am providing. Okay? Search that, you will get. Download and read. And these are very short books. How many pages? 80, 90 pages? So if you read once, and these books of Macat Library are divided into certain modules. And before beginning each module, there are key points. Reading the key points, you will understand what are stated in Location of Culture. I recently read Location of Culture, and I have started reading Arjuna Appadurai's Modernity at Large. Now, believe me, these books are very easy to understand. And after reading these books, if you read the original text, this will be very easy. Very easy. Okay. Now, this is the paper 2 part, paper 1 part. In paper 1, there are 10 topics. Get an optimum that out of 300, net is of 300, right? Out of 300, you have to get 180, 180. If you get more than that, it is very good. JRF is guaranteed. If you get less than that, It is regretful for you. Now, that means 180 means 60%. So 60% means in paper 1, out of 50 questions, you have to do 30 questions. Right? Paper 1.
Earlier it was 60.
Earlier it was 10 questions and okay, so out of 50 questions you have to do only 30 questions. 30 questions. Now remember, this is a pure calculation. 10 topics, 50 questions. For each topic, 5 questions, right? So if you do 6 topics, you can answer 30 questions. 6 into 5, 30, right? So what you have to do, you have to divide the topics into 6 plus 4 categories. 6 plus 4. 6 strong topics, 4 weak topics. Okay? Now what is the, actually this is my scenario. These are my strong topics. These, other things can be your mean brothers and sisters. That means they all look alike. They all correct, they seem all to be correct answers. So you have to choose wisely. You have to choose wisely by not giving much time. Okay. So you have to be, very conscious when you are answering, when you answer questions from teaching. Short. These are short to cover. These are not expansive like people development and environment. People development and environment is expansive because these are expanding every day. People development environment, it includes GK, general knowledge, and general knowledge is gathering information every day, every single day. Teaching aptitude is not like that. It is limited. So you can finish your syllabus. Research aptitude is also like that. And let me tell you, research aptitude, if you choose research aptitude as your strong topic and read wisely about research aptitude, it will come to your advantage from another perspective also. What is that? In paper 2 also, questions are coming from research aptitude, research, right? MLA citation and all these APA, okay, Chicago, all these citations, questions coming from these citations. So you have to prepare on research aptitude. Comprehension, yeah, Shiroshi also said that. Comprehension, you don't need to prepare for comprehension because comprehension is like answering passages from class 10. Okay, you will just read and answer. So comprehension is the easiest. Communication, again, communication is the shortest chapter, shortest. Very easy. ICT, information communication and technology. It's about computer, and if you had, as earlier said already, if you had a computer subject, it's kind of easier. But even if you don't have any knowledge about computer, just read some things, very basic things about computers. They only ask basic things like who invented that, what is the full form of this, all that. Logical reasoning. Logical reasoning, includes questions from relationships, father, daughter, and everything like that. Then there is Venn diagram. Okay, so logical reasoning is also very easy. It's not something hard to crack. Now, so these are the 6 topics out of which if questions come, you can easily answer. And from these 6 topics, if I assume, even if you can't answer all 5 of 5, even if you can answer only 4 of 5 or 3 of 5, still then you have the weak topics. And among the weak topics, 4 weak topics, if I presume that if you cannot answer 3, at least you can answer 1. For example, mathematical reasoning. A lot of mathematics you have to do for that. Now, I suppose that if you can correctly answer only one topic, one question from the 5 questions, still you have the strong topics and plus weak topics. You will get maybe more than 30 marks. Maybe more than 30 answers correct. After mathematical reasoning, data interpretation. Very different from personal experiences. Very different. Data interpretation from the background of literature students. Very different. And I am from arts student. In 12, didn't have any science background. So, PDE, People Development Environment. You have to read a lot. You have to keep trace of the recent news, everything that is happening around, Earth summit and everything. People Development Environment, PDE. Again, very large, not difficult, large. And in paper 1, believe me, you would not like large things. Higher education system also includes constitution. Higher education system has constitutional laws. So you have many acts and everything. And constitution is also, I will not say difficult, I will not say impossible or anything. I will say constitution and higher education system, these parts are not interesting to read. So that's why these are the reasons for which I have kept all these 4 things in my weak list, or you can say boring list. These are boring. And these 6 topics are very interesting, because these are easy. Okay, about market guidebooks. Arihan, don't buy. My friend had bought that. Arihan, and I read that there are many mistakes. So he will not buy Arihan. I had bought Truman, very good. Truman is very good. Very recently I had bought Harpreet Kaur for paper 1. So these 2 books are very good. And you can also try for Pearson. Pearson is also pretty good as far as paper 1 is concerned. Pearson. Okay? That's all from my end. Okay, actually I read some chapters of Arihan, not entirely, but I found that there are some answers, previous year questions, answers, some answers to incorrect. Yeah, that's right. And also don't forget to practice the previous year question papers, especially in 10 to 15 years. Okay, they will give you the pattern, the structure of the question. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
The book is named after Truman. The book is named after
Truman, Harpreet Kaur and Pearson. Harpreet Kaur. Harpreet. Harpreet Kaur, Kaur. And if you buy Harpreet Kaur, they are also giving you a disc. Okay. And buy that disc, not disc, code, something code like that. And by that code, it is like a promotional code or something like that. By that code, you will go to their website channel and they give you some testing of paper 1, free testing, free exam. So you can do that also.
Thank you very much for elaborate discussion. I missed a part of it, but whatever I gathered, you worked hard on that to help our students, to help your younger brothers and sisters, not really. Okay, what I find, some of the students are getting restless, but look, if you want to qualify in entrance set, you have to be patient. This much restlessness is not desirable. Okay, walk all the way to Durgapur if you want, but get qualified. Another resource person, Vidisha Mukherjee, she will also go to Durgapur, so don't worry. She is also in a hurry to go. But please come back. Okay. So now I would like to request Vidisha Mukherjee to address the gathering here. And thereafter, Makarina, I'll get back to you the latest one. Okay. But Vidisha now.
All of them already said all there was to say, and in fact, SP sir, Shri Panjan, all of them gave a very comprehensive view of what books you have to read, how you have to read. So I won't repeat all those, I'll just share a few things. And honestly speaking, I personally didn't take such an expansive and extensive preparation which I should have, because when I cracked JRF, I was in my PG second sem. So I've just finished PG.
Lisa, sorry for the interruption.
Sure.
There are some sixth-sem students also, newly sixth-sem. That means in 2 or 3 months' time, they will be appearing in some tests for FU, Hyderabad Central University, JNU, Yadavpur, or University. So could you help them also how to prepare themselves for the entrance tests? Okay, thank you.
So I didn't get a lot of time to prepare well. And had it been that I did not clear it in my first attempt, I would have gotten a chance to prepare more extensively. But anyway, I get that program. So please follow all that SP sir and Panjunda sir said. Strategically, you can do a few things. See, how much ever you prepare for paper 2, when you are appearing in the exam, when you are writing the test, you will not be sure about all the answers. So try to score as much as possible in paper 1. Okay? For maths, so many of you might feel that we have forgotten the maths part. We did it long back. So what you have to do is, once you remember the formulas, practice few from all the areas, profit and loss, and time and distance. You know the syllabus, right? Download the syllabus and practice some maths for all of them. But it should not take a lot of time, because remember in the exam you have options. So for math section you can do back calculation, and thereby you can justify the answer. You can you can fit the answer and check which one is the right one. So that ensures that you will not lose all the scores for maths. Okay. And reasoning, they ask fairly easy ones. I mean, at least when I appeared for the exam, paper 1 did not seem to be very difficult. So try putting some time for paper 1 along with paper 2. Don't solely focus on paper 2, thinking I'll do paper 1 in the end, I'll just keep 10 days and do paper 1. Because once you ensure you get at least 35 to 40 questions right in paper 1, that makes it easier for the whole thing. Because then, so ensure that you do prepare well for paper 1. And sometimes there will be, and this goes also for paper 2, there will be questions which match the chart type, where you will be sure about only 1 or 2 options. Usually these questions are trick questions, because you need not just one information, but more than that, 4 or 5 information to get one answer correct. So in those questions, try to eliminate the ones that you don't know, and if you know one for sure, you will see. So for example, you are sure that option D matches with option 3. You are sure, and then you will see 3 questions have that D is matched with 3. Okay, so you eliminate one option, and then you go ahead and try to. So there's one you are sure about. Now move to another one and see what is the next thing you are almost sure about. So be strategic while answering the questions, because you might not know properly. In case you don't know, if you know, then very good. So this is the mentality you have to keep while answering. You have to be strategic, because all the times you will not be sure about the answer, how much you try. Now this helped me really, because like I told you, I did not get a long time to prepare. So guesstimating, like not random guesses. Random guesses would lack, although there is no negative marking, but your overall score would be less. So not random guesses, but calculated guesses. Sometimes from a text name you will be able to locate from which period it belongs. Okay? So you have to, so for this to develop this sense of understanding, you have to read. So for that reason, history of literature is very, very important. And not only British history of literature, the traditional history of literature that we read, but American history of literature. Literature and the Indian papers, the history of Indian English writing. The books were already recommended to you. So read those books well. And when you will read history of literature, so mind mapping, like Dipanjanda said, this is one strategy I found very helpful. So there are apps, different mind mapping apps. Okay, you can download them, or you can also do that on a notebook. So don't write the note as it is. Identify the key information, the key writers, the year of publication of significant texts. Then put them in a chart. Then if so often you will find there's one text that is a response to another text, or is in some way related to another text. So try to note down all those information in a single mind map. So when you go back and read, it will be easier to revise. So this is one strategy that will help you to revise. Because so of course your Carter and Macker is a very good book for history of literature, and Albert is the basic one. And so Carter and Macker gives you a background of the social history also, like what are the changes that are happening and how are those changes being reflected in the literature of that era. Apart from that, if you read a bit of Toyn, it's not only for net, but for your better understanding of the subject. You can read that. And then if you you'll find nice summaries of things from this book. Also, although it's not very important from a net perspective, but nowadays they ask quite a few questions from cultural studies. So, and we being literature students, and not all of us had philosophy as our minors, or we didn't read philosophy. So, I personally feel that to be a hindrance, because when you advance in literary studies, many of the critical perspectives are taken directly from philosophy. So, if you face such issues, to get a good primer on ideas, you can check Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. That is also another online website, SEP, and Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Okay, so you can get ideas on the summary on different thinkers. Foucault, then Hall, Williams, all the philosophers, you can get there a rundown on their basic ideas. From there, if you want to delve deeper, you can go there. But for net, you won't need that. But I just mentioned because it's a resource you can make use of. So, yeah, I think, our other resource person have already told you the books you need to follow and how you need to prepare. As far as how much time you should devote, I would say those of you second sem, if you want to just experience's sake you want to appear, you can just fill up the application for the next net. If possible, try to devote 2 to 3 hours every day from now on. Okay? And your first priority should be history of literature. Not only British history of literature again, okay, other areas also. So for Caribbean, then Australian, and Indian is, the canonical writers, that's not a problem. For other areas, so Shumashisa suggested you can go to, the syllabus of different universities, and you can gather their syllabus and find out the important things. But so yeah, that's one thing you can do. But what I did was, so I found out the website by, she offers a course. You don't have to take the course. I didn't. I don't think shouldn't be judgmental, but I don't think the qualities of lectures are very good. But she has a very streamlined syllabus. It's a very expansive syllabus. You won't need to cover everything, especially before 1400. The focus should be after 1400. So even for this, just give an example. Yeah. So for post-colonial and the European literature section, she has
points and mention. So what you can do is you can just look at those charts, the syllabus, and then you can read that from books, from internet. So you can make use of her syllabus, the one mentioned in her website. So I'll give you an example. So this is African American writers. So more or less you know the names. But when we are preparing, we cannot just depend on our memory, or we need something ready-made to follow one by one. So there it will help you with that. So for example, she has, I used that because I didn't have much time. So you can also do that just before the exam to revise. So for example, she has 10 writers named under that section: Toni Morrison, Zora Neale Hurston. You don't need to note it down. Alice Walker, Richard Wright, Ralph Ellison. In this manner, you will get them at one place. Then British diaspora, African writers, Canadian writers like Odante, Atwood, Margaret Lawrence, Sham Selvadurai. So diasporic writers. So that website you can again make use of. Right? And so what I was saying you need to devote 2 to 3 hours every day from now on if you're in PG settings and you want to just appear for the exam. So do that. And paper 1 you don't need to devote that much time, but try to do one unit each day. 15-20 minutes devote along with paper 2. Don't just leave it for the end, because then before the exam, just before the exam, you should, if you are just busy with paper 1, then paper 2 will get you. So just keep on preparing with paper 2.
What is the name of the
Website? So, write it down. So I only mentioned this because that is the resource I used. I didn't have much time, and I only had the semester break, and I needed to access the syllabus as easily as I could. So she offers a course which I didn't take. Many people do take it, but I won't recommend the course. But you can make use of the syllabus that is freely available on our website, and then you can search on top. You can search the individual writers on Google and from the books that you will have. Okay? So yeah, and another thing, linguistics. I think it wasn't mentioned. So you need a little bit knowledge of linguistics also. Don't totally forget it. Phonetic transcription you won't need. If you can do it, then very well. But remember all the kinds of the divisions, how the sounds are divided and their characteristics, the groups. So basics of phonetics is also important, because 2-3 questions are often asked from that portion. At least it was like that in my book. So yeah, for linguistics you can follow the book you do for your masters. You can also and this is a practice you should build up if you want to stay in academics. So whenever you learn a new word, or even for words that you know the meanings of, go to dictionary and try to read the phonetic transcription and try to emulate the pronunciation. You don't have to pick up an accent, you don't have to imitate anything, but just try to reproduce the pronunciation properly. The stress, where the stress falls, the primary stress. So yeah, for linguistics, do that. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Marcelina would be better place. Yeah,
that one also?
Yeah. So Marcelina would be better place to talk about the recent changes and what latest things happen in terms of network. Right. So those of you who want to prepare for entrance, for master's entrance. So sadly our
Dev is also there. You have to also help them regarding entrance tests.
Yeah, so another thing. So yeah, so those of you are I must mention that those of you are in UG, I realized when I was writing my exam, the history of literature lessons in class and many additional information, that were just mentioned in the class by teachers, I mean, in the way it helped me to build the understanding of the field. That helped me to take calculated guesses at things. So you should always be attentive during the lectures. You never know what you are going to do.
Ask them to be.
Yeah. Please listen to the lectures carefully, take notes. They will be of immense help. You would not understand now, but when you will move ahead, you suddenly will see something somewhere, you will hear someone saying something, and you realize, okay, this is, so we will talk about this. So do that. And for entrance exams. Right. So the kind of questions they ask these days, most of the places have taken a resort to MCQ patterns. It was not like that some years back. Many places used to ask subjective questions, and those subjective questions were kind of, they wanted to see your critical acumen. How much you can think on your own, interpret on your own. But often they would ask questions on texts that you might not have read. But I think most of the institutions have started taking MCQ. And the preparation for that is almost like next. So history of literature is very important. Okay. But like JNU used to take a very intensive entrance. There's a book by Arihan. If you buy that book and if you go through the question patterns, it will help you to understand what kind of answers they expect from you, or at least what kind of questions are asked. So you can do that.
What's the name of the book?
Arihan, JNU and
Arihan.
Yes. That's the one I have. But JNU and other places, or I think many of all the places in JNU started taking MCQ. Yeah. So they have started taking MCQ, and the syllabus is more or less like NET. Yes. Yeah. So if you prepare for NET, you should be able to get it.
So JU has a different type of pattern.
From this year they also started.
Yeah.
MCQ.
JNU, everyone started MCQ. Yeah.
Subjective literature subject.
Ideally, even NET shouldn't be MCQs, right? Because it doesn't really test anything. It just tests our memory. So, yeah, so this kind of preparation, the discussion of UG 6th semester students, to you quite well, the preparation strategy for NET should also help you for MA. But for literary theory and literary criticism, you don't need to go to that. During my UG days, I also read Tyson. Always suggested me, so you can always ask them. So Tyson was a very good book to get a primer on all the ideas. You should start reading Tyson, and Peter Barry is also good for UG level. You can go through it. That should keep you covered for theory and criticism. You won't get more difficult questions. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Now the best in everything.
So you will say same students who have understood what she said. Okay. Whether it is JU or JU, as they were saying, MCQ pattern is being followed. And for that particular purpose, you have to buy certain books which will later help you also for your NET or SET preparation. Okay. Not turning about me now. The last but not the least, she is quite fresh because only a few months back she qualified. So she will give you the latest developments. She knows the latest developments, if there is any. And now I would like to start.
Okay, a very good afternoon to everyone present here, and I thank actually the entire department for presenting me with the opportunity of sharing this platform along with all of you. Okay, I can see that time is elapsing, and so is the patience of the students. So I won't take much time because I don't really have much to say. All other resource persons have already said what to have been said about the socials, about the books, about the strategies that should be adopted for successfully cracking the exam. But let me put some light on the better scenario. Things are changing rapidly and with the course of time, and the situation is getting dismal. That I have to tell you, though it's quite sad and kind of discouraging, but I'm not doing this to discourage any of you. I'm just telling you about the scenario so that you can get better prepared for the exam. This time, even though it was a marks cycle, only 4.58% of all the appeal candidates have been elected for NET, and JRF for JRF, the number of students have got declined. And this situation of the scenario may continue. So you will have to get more prepared than before so that you can crack the exam. The cutoff is also coming at low simply because the questions are getting harder and trickier. So what is required for all of you is that you will have to give your best while you are preparing for the exam. And it's not that while you are in PG, you will have to simultaneously get prepared for the exam. If you don't feel comfortable while comfortable to prepare for the NET exam while you are in your MA, it's all fine. Because while I was in MA, I focused completely on the masters and didn't get prepared for the exam at all. I appeared in the exam just for the sake of experience because I had exam phobia. And I think you also should get the exposure if you like to, because that will help you better to get well acquainted with the online mode of examination. That's all. But if you find out that you are not comfortable in taking extra stress and getting prepared for the exam, it's all fine. Then you can give extra 4 to 5 or 6 hours for preparing the exam, for preparing for the exam, and you can do that. It's all up to you. But keep in mind that your masters is very important, and you will have to score well in the masters. That is what is quite important. Okay. For preparation, let me tell you that nowadays the complication has come to at such a state that you just can't afford to put anything behind. You will have to cover up all the units that are there both for paper 1 and for paper 2. And it's really difficult to discern the syllabus of paper 2 because there is no clear-cut syllabus at all. They say that whatever there is there written in English literature is included as syllabi. So you just can't go for it. But let me tell you about certain sources that will give you a definite overview of how much to read and what to read. And for that I would recommend a book by Pearson that has come up for paper 2. And this book has been written by Bill Pandit. Okay, write down the name please. Yeah. The Pearson book is quite good because it will enable you to know how much to read and what to read for paper 2. You will get an overview, but if you begin to solely rely on the book for preparation, that won't get you. You will have to study multiple sources, and the sources have already been told. I won't repeat that, and I won't take away your time. And what is important is that you go through the sources and prepare as much as is required. But there are certain portions in English literature that we have to put extra emphasis on. And those portions are the age of Chaucer. That is quite important and relevant even to this day. And we will have to put much emphasis on restoration drama. The restoration age is pretty important. And we will have to put extra emphasis on the works of Dickens, Harry, Jane Austen. Because questions about the chronological order are still asked. And then again, you will have to very clearly and comprehensively study the post-modern and the modern age that people are mostly afraid of. You just can't afford to leave them out, because if you leave them out, your scope for obtaining a NET or a GRF will also completely elude you. So that is not good. You will have to study quite well this area. For Indian literature, you will have to put much emphasis on these days on the post-Rushdie period. That is quite important. Post-Rushdie literature is quite important these days. Along with that, put extra emphasis on African literature, on American literature, again modern American literature. And for that, you need a comprehensive guide. And as for guide, I will tell you about 2 sources. If you
could you repeat what you said, what you have said?
Okay. You will have to put extra emphasis on African literature. Then you will have to put extra emphasis on modern American literature. That is what is important. And modern literature should also be read. Each and every modern book that comes under the descriptions and you just can follow them completely. For that, online sources, in my opinion, would be kind of more reliable and easier for you to grasp. And I will tell you about the sources. I don't think I would have to write down the names of the sources. If you just can pick it up, that's quite nice. Because in this age of Google, even if you make spelling mistakes, you will get it. Okay. For a comprehensive view of literature altogether, including new literature, you can follow the videos of Dr. Kolani Bhalla. Okay, can you get it? If you can get it, I can write down the name for you. Okay, now let me clarify. Dr. Kolani Bhalla and I have written a literature. These are two I would rather say, or literary guides who you should follow for comprehensive overview of English literature, including literary theory. Because the literary theory as well as the literary criticism as well as the cultural studies better and understanding is needed. If you don't have clear understanding, you won't be able to answer at all the questions that would be asking next. Because all the questions that are being asked these days, both from paper 1 and paper 2, are on reflective level and on understanding level. So if you don't have a clear-cut grasp and comprehensive grasp over the topics, you won't be able to understand them. Even in this case, category cases on one. So you just will have to study really well these topics and understand these. And for convincing, the name of convincing I have written already for good guidance for you on paper 1. If you watch his marathon classes on teaching aptitude or research aptitude or ICT, you will get good overview about the topic. So that is what is required for you to do. And you will have to go on with your preparations, whatever it may come. And if you find it out that you are comfortable to carry on with your preparations during your MA courses, that's quite fine. If you feel that you just can't carry on the stress, you just can't bear with it, you may opt out of it. There's nothing wrong in it. But please get prepared. Please go on studying. That is what is required. And please begin to love literature. Please try to grasp the literariness that is there in each and every literary work. Please make up the habit of reading a particular poem or a particular summary of a particular text each and every day. Even if that's a modern work, there's nothing wrong in it because questions are being asked from the modern area of literature. Poetry Foundation is a very good source for that. And lead charts, there's an app for lead charts that come up with authentic summary and criticism of different types of literary works, be it a poem or a prosaic work or a novel. So you will have to go through them each and every day religiously, not for the sake of passing an exam or for the sake of cracking an entrance test, but for the sake of love for literature. If you begin to love literature, it won't be difficult for you to crack any exam, be it difficult or easy. It doesn't matter at all, because remember, it doesn't matter whether there are 6% seats for NET, LS, or whether there are only less than 1% seat for JLS these days. You should keep in mind that you need only one seat for yourself. It doesn't matter how much seats are available for you or how many seats are there. Keep in mind that you need only one seat. And if you get prepared well, and if you try to give your 100%, it doesn't matter if you are capable of giving that 100% that you are training for. If you After you wish for giving your 100% for the exam, you will crack the exam. It doesn't matter how many seats are available. So that is all I have to say. Because other things, other resources that should have been talked about have already been said. There is nothing to repeat. But I all request you to love literature, go on with your studies, and don't take stress about the exam. That is all I need to say. And my best wishes for all of you. Keep up hope and go ahead, and don't get scared about the scenario, because if you are giving your best, you will get your best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Natalina. Something very important she has said, and what I will say every day, almost every day. If you really want to do something in future, love literature. Loving literature is more important than securing better perspectives. Okay, so how to love literature, that is what you have to inculcate in your own way. Anyway, I have a question for all of you actually. Do you think that the sites like Unacademy are important? That means subscription of such sites is really required for the next grade aspirants?
No, sir, I don't think so. If they can stick to their own routine and they follow the books that are recommended, that is enough. And there are so much free resources available everywhere. Not everyone is comfortable with reading only. So if they are more comfortable in audio-visual medium, then they can listen to YouTube lectures. There are many good Swayam courses, NPTEL courses on literacy. So those are available for free. I don't think any subscription is needed.
And Chelsea, I didn't ask you earlier to help our UG 6th grade students. Now, what would you suggest for them for entrance tests?
The way of preparing NET will help them in preparing since the master's entrance tests have been MCQ. The preparation for NET will definitely help them in the same way for preparation of master's entrance tests. Mainly, to keep in mind the fictions, as I already told, the fictions and non-fictions, their authors, basic storylines, year of publication, and the name of the protagonists from 14th century to 21st century. And world literature, not only English, European or American, the world literature, including Indian and marginal literatures, African, Caribbean, everything. This is the main, and also theory and criticism, which are not taught in the UG level. You have to read them, theory and criticism, and the books that
Again, our students, you know very well, most of the students have a habit of sticking to the syllabus only. MA syllabus, I'm saying. They don't go beyond the syllabus. When it is a question of preparing a dissertation paper or a term paper, we find that some of them say that they don't have exposure to other texts beyond the syllabus. So, Dipanjan, what would you like to say to them? Means, what should they do right now beyond the syllabus? Of course, preparation for later step, that is definitely a must.
Spend three things: time, money, energy behind your dream. Now, you have to make a strategy for spending your time. For example, my own strategy is spending 30 minutes or minimum when you are too busy for exam or anything. Make a schedule of 15 minutes minimum for reading the outside books, 15 minutes for vocabulary practice. Make a separate diary and practice 5 words and their 3 synonyms every day. Try to write 5 sentences out of those 5 unknown words. In this way, your stock of vocabulary will increase. That will help you indirectly to write your articles and everything. 1. And 2 is 15 minutes in English reading, 15 minutes Bengali reading. Always remember that Bengali literature is also very rich, and you have to know about this literature, read 15 minutes of these stories. You will get from any library these books. And 15 minutes try to read English literary works. 15 minutes to 30 minutes as you can afford your time. 15 minutes for English literary works, either stories or maybe critical books, theoretical books. So, and to the previous question of Indian sir, that you don't have to spend anything. Spending money for books is better than spending money for some private corporation or some private teacher. Believe me, I have taken guidance from one such person, and I have personally seen that many of his information are actually wrong information. He is providing wrong information but claiming himself arrogantly to be the best teacher in the field. He is not. So you don't have to take any guidance from anybody else. The teachers are here. These are best teachers, best faculty members you have got. So take their help, and you will get free resources available online. Okay. These will help you in reading and writing else in your future career. That's all.
Are you in a hurry, some of you? Is it okay for you if the interaction goes on? Okay, if you are in a hurry, you may leave. Okay, how many of you? 3 or 4?
Just take 10 to 15 minutes.
10 to 15 minutes time? No, you have a class. Okay, then go. You don't mind. Okay, that is it. Are you satisfied?
Yeah, everything appears to be so clear. I'd like to thank all of you. I mean, things have been very clear. On the internet, we have searched for this, like how to prepare, how to get ourselves prepared for that. They give very basic general advice, and I don't quite like it because I'm sounding a bit arrogant. And I have really found all the information very much useful and quite technical. The technicalities, the strategies that you talked about, it's not a general piece of advice that you gave. I really want to thank all of you. Thank you very much.
Aditya will get back to you, but on a personal note, first of all, I need to thank all the resource persons here, and I'm really feeling very beholden, because you who were my UG kids just some years back, you were speaking English fluently, addressing the audience confidently, talking about things which I do not know of, and I feel really proud to have you here. And I'm sure that all my students would agree that this workshop has really been a successful workshop, and listening to seniors is always more beneficial and more encouraging than listening to aged teachers or gray-haired teachers. Right, so Hollywood.
First of all, I would like to extend my thanks to every one of you. It was really a very helpful session. Okay, I have a question which may sound very silly, but since I am in my 4th state and soon my MA course will be over, and my parents are kind of suggesting me to pursue BA. So, will it be possible to go for the NET coaching and pursue BA at the same time?
It's a very important question, not a silly question. Subhasis has an answer to that. Yeah, your voice is quite on.
You talked about BA, right, Bhakti? Okay. Yes, I have done also a BA. Okay. And that too from other state. Okay, whatever. Yes, actually, we are, actually, Indian sir was talking about in the department that we are in that, in that tough times going through. That way, if you pass NEET or SAT, we cannot, even today also, I have passed in 2017 GRE, and one CSC has been passed. I will be appealing for the next one. And we do not know that when we will get into our that desired goal, right? So, look, for NEET or SAT, BEd won't be any obstacle, right? And today the scenario is also different because I think you must not have to spend much time in BEd other than those teaching hours that will come to you, I think after 1 year, that you will spend 6 months or 4 months of time in some teaching in your school, right? The first year when you will be quite free during your PhD studies, I think that will be the proper time for you to prepare for your NET, right? NET was said. And why BEd is important? Let me tell you. Yes, we know that in a decade we are standing only with one school service commission in a decade. And yes, hopefully next decade also we will have.
Yours was the last thesis.
Right, yes, mine was the last in 2016. And yes, hopefully in next decade we will have one. And yes, hopefully. And yes, if we have so, then that will be your last chance to acquire a job, right? So you must not spare that little chance also. Okay? I am advising my juniors also. Whoever asks me that should I pursue BEd or DEd or whatever, I suggest him whatever you can, just pursue it, because you don't know that when that that chance will occur to you, and the chance, the moment it will come, you just acknowledge it that this is your last chance. You have to yes, prepare. You have to prepare at the best of your level. You just acquire your job, right? So I think your question is clear already, right? Yes. Thank you.
Anyone else? PG semester. Vishal, you have a question?
You know that which are good. Yeah, so the teaching market is, the teaching profession is getting more harder every day. Now, we are seeing the situation of the government, government colleges and schools are getting worse. So, what are the chances to get a job in teaching profession on the IIT IIT, the non-government sectors?
IIT is not a non-government sector at all.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, absolutely not. But not in, not ordinary. Not regular. Right. It's a different kind of what we don't go for naturally. Spontaneously. So, what are the chances to get a job on those sectors and through net?
Is there any chance to get a job in private sectors through net? That's his question. Net is mandatory.
Yeah, now it's mandatory.
Just a minute, I will bring the mic. You are speaking in a chorus. Yeah, please.
Okay, this is my personal experience. When, see, you have better chance of getting job in private universities when you are pursuing PhD. Okay, there are many people who have cracked NET. So, private universities actually prefer to hire those who are in research field. And it happened with me also when I was doing PhD maybe last year, and I actually sat for an interview in Barashat University, and there on the table they offered me the job. That when you can be, you can take our classes. So that's what I have to decline the job because I had a fellowship. But I just sat for experience, some experience. So it's a better chance for you if you are doing PhD and after of course passing NET.
I think we don't have any variety of the job. But if you're a good student and you can inculcate all your learning from the teaching, and if you are good as a teacher, you can retain your job for lifelong, right? It's a great possibility.
Without NET?
No, I'm not talking about NET. I'm saying that.
Are you talking about job security in private?
Job security. When we talk about government jobs, they are completely secure. When you get a job on teaching, you're secure, but not in private colleges or institutes. But there is a possibility of
getting sacked
by improving your own capabilities of teaching, right?
So, the chances of getting sacked as when you are in a teaching position in colleges and universities are far lesser than in private corporate institutions. Like engineers may get sacked more than teachers. So there is, I will say, no possibility of getting sacked. Okay, but as a teacher in private institutions. You are talking of competition in government colleges and universities. Let me make this clear. Competitions are equally there in private colleges and universities as well. So you will just have to attain your qualifications one after another. You qualify NET, qualify JRF, get into any institutions for getting the teaching experience. That will also help in getting jobs in better institutions one after another. And also one piece of advice, you can give NET after you complete the first semester of masters. Right? So my advice to you is, many students think that let me prepare well, then I will start giving the exams. Do not do that. Take every attempt, because your experience matters a lot. Apart from practicing the last 10 years or 15 years question papers and preparing, your experience also matters a lot. So start giving from the very first attempt.
Actually, the best two hurdles of getting a job in today's world is competition and corruption. Now, you don't have to think about that, because my mindset is always like that. Even if there is 90% corruption, 10% fair, and you will make yourself as best as you can so that you can fit yourself into that 10% category. Okay, so I'm trying to make myself as best as possible.
Anyone else you would like to ask?
Thanks to all my resources, it's my own personal experience. I mean, I have been facing the problem while going through the history of English literature, like Albert's. Actually, when I'm going to read the literature, so there are few words, few terms, and few phrases which are not familiar to me. And the syllabus is so huge, it's very impossible. I mean, which portion I will select and which portion I will reject. It's very difficult. So please tell me in which way I will study.
Just trying to know about the strategy of preparing this.
Well, it appears to be a confusion almost in each and every mind initially. You need to get worried about it. If you find it out that there are some phrases in Albert that you can properly understand, you can take resort to good quality dictionary. For example, there are ample English to English dictionaries. I will always ask each and every one of you to take recourse to English dictionaries, because from now on you will have to practice thinking in English, not in some other language. So for that you need to download a good English dictionary and find out the meaning. When you find out the meaning, you need to write down on a particular diary the meanings of the words along with the sentence. That will really help you a lot, and try to use the newly done words in your own writing. That will enrich not only your writing, but will really enable you to remember the words better. And coming to your doubt about Albert, let me tell you that if you don't really find out Albert, interesting and close to your mind, you can take a recourse to other books that may appear more comprehensive. Roadmatch is always there by Matt Carter. That you can refer to always if you really want to have a comprehensive view of the history of English literature. But there's another book that may appear to be a good book that always becomes a fifth to your senses. And that book is the Standard Edition book by Michael Alexander. That's a very good book, because I don't know why it really appears quite a delight to me whenever I read it. And the book is not lengthy enough to frighten you, so you don't need to get worried about it. There is always multiple resources that would maybe help you to better understand You just can't stay back because you find it difficult. That is what is important. And then it is always good to stick to one source so that you don't get confused. So if you study in this manner, I guess you will be better able to understand the history of English literature, not only the history of English literature, but other topics as well. I hope this helps.
Does anyone have any other question? Shayam, do you want to ask anything? No. So, sir, you can call it again.
You
Want to ask?
You want to ask him? No question.
So, head of the department from? So anyone else from UG 76? No one? So, thank you all the resource persons and my dear students. And you will always remember students, and that's what I was also saying. That kids only a few years back, UG kids, they are speaking so well and confidently saying whatever they have to say. That is actually the outcome of the department. That is also the achievement of the department. And in near future, we hope to see some of you here also on this side of the table. And just for information, someone was asking me whether you have any permanent job, any job like that beyond the government sector. There are so many opportunities also. After tomorrow, I'm going for a selection committee at Ranchi. It's a private college, but they are offering you UGC full UGC and following all the English norms. So that way you will have, once you qualify in NET or SET, you will have English definitely, but you have to go beyond the state. Not really think of all the time, of remaining here within the state. That sort of flexibility has to be there, okay? So otherwise you can't really think of a job these days. So don't really think all the time that you will be here within a particular boundary, within a particular region. That is what that sort of parochialism, I would say. You have to overcome that. Otherwise you can't really succeed. Thank you all. Subhashi, Dipanjan, Shreyasi, Vidisha, and
Sir, we
Matrila.
would like to have a photo with all our resource persons. So may we have that honor? And I would request Jayaprakash to take a photo. Shomir,
With the students or with the teachers?
with the teachers first and then
With the students.
with all their peers. Come in.
So thank you all once again. And I would like to request our next department from to make it article.
Thank you to all the resource persons. I'm really impressed on the way how you have discussed our matters. And in future, we will arrange such programs. And again, you will be invited as resource persons. We will also arrange special lectures. And we have decided that we will invite only the ex-students for various of our
They have a lot to contribute to the
Yes.
department.
So I think there are more resources than the
Yes, obviously.
So, please do come again, and the certificate we will provide you for the resource person. Please certificate in your name, we will receive it.
Their first experience is resource persons.
Okay, thank you. We will meet again in another.
Okay, sir. Shomir, where is